Hello, beautiful being. This video is for anyone who is on a journey of self-love, self-acceptance, and perhaps exploring your creative energy and using it to do what your soul desires for you to do in this life. But perhaps you found yourself distracted by sexual lust, okay? That's something that I found that was very distracting for me. And there was a generational aspect as well, because my father also struggled with sexual lust. But I love that I found a way to overcome it despite the odds, you know, despite the fact that generations before me struggled with the same thing. And I used the support and the protection and the power of my ancestors to enlighten me as to how I could move beyond the distractions of sexual lust. It does involve sexual magic, what I'm going to share with you, okay? And I'm going to link a video that I posted quite a while ago. So if you're interested in the topic, there's that. You can watch that as well. It could be useful depending on how much you already know about sex magic or how open you are to the idea of it. I'm not here to push anything on you. It's just the way that I work with energy and what works for me. So sexual lust is a big distraction because it's constantly projected towards us, whether it's through a certain individual who is focusing on us. And that could be, they might have very evil intentions, or they might themselves be controlled by sexual lust, lustful spirits. It might just be the way that they operate. When they want to be with someone physically, they use lust, okay? And these lustful spirits are entities that they may have gathered from generations, former generations, or from other lovers, as sexual ties and bonds are formed as we have sex with other people. So that's why we got to be really, really careful and selective and protective over ourselves, selective about the other people that we are with sexually, and protective over our own energy. Now, sometimes these beings that invade our sexual energy or project lustful spirits towards us are truly intending to control us through love spells or through thought projections. And their goal is to captivate us so that they can capture us and control us through our chakras. But whether the goal of the person is intentional or unintentional, it still has the same impact on us as beings who are trying to align with our divine self. It takes us away from our goal. It fills our mind with thoughts of another person instead of what we are meant to heal or to create. So sexual magic is the perfect remedy for this, because true sexual alchemy, and everything that I talk about in this video is from a solo standpoint. So of course sex magic can be done between you and another partner, but in this video I'm focusing on solo sex, okay? But solo sex, if you are using it to focus on your self-love, on the purification of your chakras, the purification of your mind, then it is the perfect remedy for lust. While lustful spirits are trying to take us to a place where we're obsessively thinking over or thinking of another person, putting them on a pedestal, filling our minds energy with this person, thoughts of this person all day long, perhaps all night long. That's the goal of lustful energy. And in that way, it overwhelms a person, crowding out any growth that they would be able to achieve through their own creative endeavors, okay? So when you're focusing on purity of thought and self-love during a solo sex ritual, you're training your mind to not go to another person. It's a very beautiful form of meditation when you are alone with yourself, just you and spirit during sex, and other thoughts come to you. Maybe a person who's trying to get you to open up to them sexually. Their spirit may pop up while you're doing a solo sex ritual. And when you stop, when you pause and force that spirit out of your realm, you are harnessing your own power. You are strengthening the energy of your chakras and of your mind to always be able to usher out that unwanted energy or entity, because they're trying to invade your space, but your mind becomes more powerful. So if this is something that you're interested in doing, there are certain things that are important during this type of sex magic ritual. And one of those being that I don't ever suggest using any sort of pornography for something like this. Honestly, I don't use pornography. I think that for my own personal journey, it's just something that I've come to not need anymore. I used to enjoy it sometimes, but I absolutely don't need it. When you go to the astral through your own mind's eye and you connect with your spirits and with the divine, there is no sort of pornography that would even satisfy you, because you're going through portals to other dimensions. Also, any sort of material like that is going to limit what you're able to do during a sex ritual, because as long as you're free energetically and protected, there is no limit to what you're able to experience on the astral realm during a sex ritual. You're limitless. But if you're using pornography, you're then limited by the frequency of the beings that were creating that material. And you might be able to tell what the frequency of that material is, or maybe not. But there are so many instances where that sort of material is created with a low vibe frequency. When I did watch that sort of material, I had to be sure that I really vibed with the frequency of it. I could always tell if the people who created the video or were in the video were actually enjoying it or not. I could tell if it was consensual or not. And so by the time I started to really get into expanding my horizon during sexual magic, it was like I didn't need any sort of external 3D material to help me get to where I wanted to get on other dimensions. It just became very unnecessary. So I would suggest limiting that as much as possible. And if you do need it, think about creating your own. Think about really tuning in to see if this video that you're watching is high vibe or not. Because if it is not, it will lower the frequency of your sex magic, and it will put sort of a barrier between you and what you're able to experience on other realms when you're doing sex magic. Another thing is when you do a ritual for self-love with sex alchemy, try not to think of other people. It may be useful to you if you're able to do this using autoeroticism. If the thought of yourself turns you on, you know, think about that. That's like a beautiful representation of self-love. Looking at yourself in the mirror, envisioning yourself being with yourself, okay? Also, you can connect with deities. These are frequencies that reside within you as well. So, as above, so below. If you have protected your energy and you've started your ritual and a deity comes to you, it's your choice. You can work with them or not. But whatever presents itself to you in a protected space that is not a lustful spirit or a spirit of greed or anything like that, as long as it's something that you want to connect with, that's up to you. It's there for your healing and for your empowerment. But what I recommend for a ritual of this type is to create a high vibe space. Okay, you can play healing frequency music. For a ritual for overcoming lust, I really like healing frequency for the sacral chakra, or any time for the crown chakra. Usually for my sex magic work, I really love to use healing frequencies for the crown chakra, because you're activating that kundalini, you're reinforcing it if it's already been awakened within you. And so you're going to get that rise of energy from your root to your sacral, your solar plexus, your heart, your throat, your ajna, to your sahasrara. So it kind of is guiding you to have that healing frequency music for the crown chakra, because it's inviting that energy to rise up and meet your crown chakra. Okay, but it's how you see it. This is your magic, this is your ritual, so whatever resonates with you, do that. Also, using a crystal is very wonderful. I personally like to use rose quartz when I'm doing a sex magic ritual. Also, vanadinite is very powerful for the sacral chakra and also for the root. And cleansing your space, lighting a candle, and connecting with your spirit allies to protect you, and setting your intention of whatever it is that you want to accomplish during that sex magic ritual is very, very helpful. As you are achieving orgasm, as you are stimulating yourself, it is almost, I would say you could bet money on a spirit coming to you that you don't want there. If your goal is to overcome lust, let's say that a certain person is bothering you, they want to get into your sexual energy. More than likely, especially if they are very magically in tune, they might come to you while you are doing this ritual. That's almost to be expected, because it's a ritual to overcome lust, right? So of course, whatever it is that you are overcoming, whatever it is that you are rising above, is going to meet with you, right? So when you encounter a spirit that wants to come in during your sex magic ritual, whatever you're doing to stimulate yourself or to work with your own sexual energy, pause, and then take that moment to send that energy away. Whoever it is, whatever entity or energy it is that wants to sort of come into your space at that point in time, usher them out. You can visualize a door, okay, and guide them out the door, okay? How gently or how forcefully you want to do that. You can force them out. You can guide them out. You've already invoked the protective energies that you work with, so they can help you do this. They can help you to send that energy away. And then you continue with your sex magic. Okay? Enjoy it. Focus on the healing frequency music. Focus on the crystal that you have. Focus on whatever high vibe thought it is that is stimulating you. Focus on the thought of yourself. Focus on loving yourself. Perhaps you have invited a deity, a god or goddess to join you. Focus on that. If you have a divine partner, because let's not pretend that lustful spirits don't try to influence us just because we're in a partnership, okay? So if you have a divine partner, even though you might be doing this ritual alone, you are free to think of them as long as they have high vibes and you're in a good place with them, okay? But continue your sex magic, your stimulation, and anytime an invasive spirit, a lustful energy tries to come to you, pause, force them out, push them out, guide them out, escort them out, however you're getting them out of your zone, and then continue. And you do this until you achieve orgasm. And when you do achieve orgasm, you can focus on the crystal. You can focus on connecting with that crystal to send positive energy throughout your chakras. You can surround your mind, your mental space, and each of your chakras with divine protective healing energy. And what this does is it's training for your mind. It's a way to do exactly what the lustful spirits don't want you to do, which is love yourself, and also gain control over your own energy. They want free access to you, but you're not allowing them that, and you're training your mind. So you can do this however often you want, and each time you do it and you achieve that orgasm without the presence of that spirit, because anytime they try to come to you, you are escorting them out. They are not allowed in your space. Your space is divinely protected. You're making it so that anytime you're working during the day or going about your business, whenever you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, and they come to you with that lustful energy, if you could refuse that entity when you are achieving orgasm, imagine what you're able to do when you're vacuuming your floor, or when you're sitting typing at your computer, or whatever it is that you're doing when you're just driving. So it really does put you to the test, but it builds your strength and your meditative endurance so that you are more empowered. And also the thing that I love about doing this during a sex magic ritual is that you're channeling healing energy during that ritual to your chakras. So you're making them more healthy and strong and balanced and resilient, so that when these lustful spirits try to attack, you have the power and the endurance to refuse them, so that you can stay on your path of self-love and of divine creation. Okay? So I hope that helps. And yeah, if it does, awesome. Yay! But if you stick with this practice, I promise you, it does work. And different strokes for different folks. So if sex magic isn't your thing, then you already know that, I'm sure. But if you already are tapping into the world of sex magic, then this really might help if you've ever found yourself facing the energies of lustful spirits. Ashe. I hope that this helped you, beautiful being. And I wish you peace. I wish you joy and so many blessings. Take care.